Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Parker. We're going to break down the Q at Myrtle Beach. It was a YouTube creator event released earlier today by Play Golf Myrtle Beach. It was 8 aspiring pros and 8 YouTube golfers duking it out for one spot on the PGA Tour at the Myrtle Beach Classic at the Dunes Club later this week. It was filmed about 2 months ago at TPC Myrtle Beach. So, the main takeaways was it was a lot better than last year's. This is the second edition. I posted a similar video to this one last year, and it's pretty critical. I didn't like the pacing, not much commentary. There's no banter. It was just a lot of shot by shot by shot onto the next. They were bouncing a lot from hole 6 back to hole 4. There was no voiceover, hosting the show or anything. So they fixed most of that. The tracers were better this year. They did have hosts. They had really a great host, Shane Bacon, big name in the industry. Mason from Busted Jack. They had Carol and Hallie. They all did a great job. They did mid-round interviews and updates, and basically introduced most of the shots, the important shots. I will say at the beginning, it was, they were really focusing shot by shot, and it just kind of, the video is 3 hours, 17 minutes long, pretty long. So that's going to be one of my takeaways. But they kind of really slowed it down in the beginning. They were, it's probably 3 holes in, and the video is already over an hour long. But at the end, they kind of did a few skip rounds, updates. Shane would say, George has bogeyed 16, 17. He'd fallen off. And just if they had done a little more of that, I think it could have been better. Kept this around 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I know it's tough. I mean, last year's, I was saying it's choppy and was short and shot to shot, and it was 2 hours, 22 minutes. They did end up getting 1 million views last year's video, which had Grant and was the first edition. A lot of people are excited to see what it was like, the product. So I do think that one will have more views, that first one, but this product overall was much, much better. I believe Play Golf Myrtle Beach had PJ Tour Studios. I think I saw at the very end, probably produced the whole thing. So did a good job there. I mean, there's probably 15 plus, 20 plus cameras out there, and a lot of editing time, a lot of footage. 16 players, all 18 holes. Maybe, just personally, my thoughts, maybe make it a 9 or 12 hole event. That'd be a lot easier to keep it around 2.5 hours for the YouTube product. But then again, you'll have the guys saying a 9-hole qualifier for a PGA Tour event. So probably doesn't make sense. You just kind of have to find the middle ground of what's the right length of video and what's going to provide the best champion. But, overall, it was so much better than last year. Let's break down a little bit of the action, what happened. It was Nathan Frank's hot start. He stuck it close on 1 and chipping eagle on 2. I guess I haven't even mentioned he won the event. College golfer, I believe he's an All-American at South Carolina. Shot 3 under 69, one-shot win. We'll break down on 18 in a minute what happened, but he won. It was pretty much the main, which might not be great for what Play Golf Myrtle Beach and the Myrtle Beach Classic's looking for, but the main contenders were junior, I called them aspiring pros, but junior and college players turned out to be superior to all the YouTubers. So they were the ones contending. Nathan Franks and Tyler Watts, and Joe Hooks put on a good performance. Hadn't heard of him, but he played well. He was in contention. So the YouTubers were out early. FP is 89, last by a long way. Maybe this is my opinion. Probably should be his last performance in an event like this. He probably needs some strokes to be competing with a Division I guy, and so he was last. But Micah did a little better than last year. He broke 80. Let me flip over here and check the scores. I have those pulled up. He did shoot Micah 77, so 5 over. TPC is a really tough course. So 9 shots better, I believe, than last year. Decent performance him, but he's a long way off from from contending. Kyle Berkshire, don't think anyone really thought he was a serious contender. Peter Finch could, on a better day, could have been up there. Definitely George and Ben, but it's really not many creators in contention. Congrats to Nathan Franks. I think he's played well in the U.S. Amateur. He probably has the best shot to, make this cut at the Myrtle Beach Classic. But get back to my notes here. Um, yeah, but I had a couple of negative, overall takeaways was much better. That I liked the mid-round interviews and the voiceovers, the some couple updates after every 3 or 4 holes. They'd cut away and they'd show the leaderboard, and Shane would give a quick update. And they had a lot of Mason would walked with Joe Hooks and had some updates. Carol, and they all had updates. Each of those media folks had a group they were following, so much better than last year's product. But they missed on a couple things on 17. They really didn't even get Sean Walsh's hole out there. It was a hole out par. They didn't have a camera. I mentioned earlier they probably had 15, 20 cameras out, but they somehow didn't have one up by the green there. That was a bit unfortunate. And then same hole, the same group, I believe, Nathan Franks didn't even have his birdie putt in frame. They had 2 different angles of him and never even showed the ball rolling. So that was a little weird. I know it's hard to produce these things, and it's a lot of editing. I can't even imagine all the editing on this. That's why it was filmed 2 months ago. But let's get into 18th hole. Well, I was really confused on Nathan Franks. He's 2 up there. He's in the left rough, and there's water to cover on the left side. And I think he had a gap wedge or wedge. What was he doing? He really needed to just hit like a 6, 7 iron, aiming at that bunker. If it ends up in the bunker, fine, or near that bunker, you're golden. Just keep the water out of play. There's so much room on that right side. There's 75 yards right of that water. And he just took a club that brought it in play, just a wedge. That was weird, and he had to really grind it out with the bogey. But great round, 69. I mentioned FP and Micah. Sean Walsh was the best creator even, but overall bad, creators weren't in contention. I think it was you if you're filming, producing this, I think you probably want your product to be mainly creators or have a couple creators in contention, deep contention. So that was a little unfortunate, but overall, I enjoyed the video. I watched it all this afternoon in one sitting. So kudos to everyone that was involved. Thanks for watching this video. Let me know what y'all's thoughts on the queue was, and I'm sure there'll be another one. They'll probably keep having them. They'll keep getting better, and I really would be cool if they open this to the public. Some, maybe did it live or something. I don't know how you do that. You probably have to do it live. So, thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you hadn't. Playing every course in Myrtle Beach, and signing off. See you guys later. Peace.